Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard arrested by FBI as corruption allegations explode. The mayor of Dalton, Illinois, Tiffany Henyard, has officially found herself at the center of a major federal corruption scandal. Newly released bodycam footage shows the stunning moment Henyard was arrested by federal agents, the culmination of months of speculation and mounting public pressure for accountability. Residents of Dalton and nearby Thornton Township, where Henyard also serves as township supervisor, have long voiced their frustrations over what they describe as unchecked power, financial mismanagement, and unethical behavior. Now, those allegations appear to have caught up with her. The arrest has sent shockwaves through the tight-knit South suburban community and beyond. FBI agents reportedly descended on Dalton and Thornton Township, seizing personnel files, police records, and business documents. According to the agency, these actions were part of a court-authorized law enforcement operation. The footage has only added fuel to a fire that had been raging for months. For many, the visual confirmation of Henyard being taken into custody by federal officers represents long-awaited vindication. "She never threatened me. I never even talked to her," one resident said, referencing a recent confrontation caught on camera involving online critics. "But it's a harassment. People stalking you. It's insane." The community member emphasized that one of the individuals involved was not even local, describing them as one of those YouTubers who's just chasing adrenaline. While some have dismissed the coverage of Henyard's behavior as politically motivated or sensationalized, residents say it's the mounting legal evidence that has finally prompted law enforcement to act. ###, a mayor under federal microscope for months. Rumors of a looming federal investigation swirled throughout Dalton. Now confirmed, those whispers have turned into federal subpoenas, financial audits, and 22 criminal charges, including alleged corruption, financial misconduct, and obstruction of justice. Henyard, who once called herself Chicagoland supermayor, could be facing significant prison time if convicted. Federal authorities confirmed that a grand jury has been investigating her since November, and the pace has accelerated sharply in recent weeks. "This is what happens when someone who never earned their power is handed it," said a former township staffer. "People suffer, and we've been suffering in Dalton for a long time." ### from elected mayor to embattled supervisor. Though elected mayor in 2021, Henyard's real power and income lie in her concurrent role as Thornton Township supervisor, where she earns over $220,000 a year, a salary critics say is vastly out of step with the township's size and needs. That salary came with the position, passed to her after her predecessor's death. But in a move widely seen as self-serving, Henyard reportedly pushed an ordinance that would reduce her successor's salary to just $$25,000, making the role all but financially unviable for any would-be challenger. "She's made it so no one wants to run against her," said a local organizer. "It's not just corruption. It's voter suppression by economics." ### millions in debt. Lawyers unpaid adding to the scandal. Henyard's own legal team recently withdrew from her case, reportedly due to non-payment. Meanwhile, the village of Dalton faces a ballooning $20 million deficit, with officials and residents questioning where the money has gone. "It's so frustrating how slow the justice system moves," said one trustee. But finally, something's happening. The village board took a dramatic step by hiring former Chicago mayor and ex-U.S. Attorney Lori Lightfoot to conduct an independent investigation. Her hourly rate, $400. For many in Dalton, it was a steep but necessary cost. "You know things are bad when the best idea seems to be bringing in Lori Lightfoot," a longtime resident said. ### a pattern of misuse and retaliation. Henyard's administration has also been plagued by complaints of misusing public resources. A former police chief came forward alleging that Henyard regularly assigned members of her taxpayer-funded police security team to handle personal errands rather than official duties. Other police officers have accused her of retaliation, claiming they were demoted, reassigned, or pressured to resign for questioning her orders or raising ethical concerns. Additionally, a Dalton staffer has alleged that they were sexually assaulted on a city-funded trip to Las Vegas, further compounding the mayor's legal and reputational troubles. That incident, currently under separate review, is one of several involving the misuse of public funds and city resources. Employees have also reported not being paid on time, or at all, while city finances remain opaque. "Nothing made sense," a former city employee said. "Salaries disappeared, jobs were cut, and meanwhile the mayor was flying out to events and holding taxpayer-funded wellness expos that no one asked for." ### FBI raid, subpoenas, and community uprising. The FBI's recent sweep included both Dalton Village Hall and the Thornton Township building. Subpoenas were issued for a range of documents, including payroll records, contracts, and police files. FBI sources say the investigation has uncovered a troubling pattern of financial abuse and governance failures tied directly to Henyard's leadership. This federal escalation comes on the heels of a grassroots movement in Dalton. A recent rally, dubbed Take Our Township Back, drew dozens of residents demanding her resignation and calling for independent oversight. The council's been asking for help for months, said a village trustee. There's been shady spending, no transparency, and constant stonewalling. #, public trust shattered residents have grown increasingly disillusioned. Many cite Henyard's dismissive attitude toward criticism and her ability to spin controversies as politically motivated attacks. She gets on camera and acts like it's all lies, one frustrated resident said. But nothing she says adds up. Others say the administration has been fueled by delusion and arrogance. Those three people she always surrounds herself with, they're not even close to average intelligence, a community leader remarked. They think what they're doing is amazing, and it's the opposite. Everything they say is nonsense. And the mayor talks like she's giving a TED Talk, not running a town. #, looking ahead, as Tiffany Henyard awaits formal arraignment and further legal proceedings, the village of Dalton faces an uncertain future. Residents and trustees alike are grappling with the fallout, both financially and emotionally. With Henyard now in federal custody and the town drowning in debt, community leaders are hoping this marks a turning point. She thought no one would ever challenge her, said a local activist. But the people finally said enough. Tiffany Henyard, the mayor who put herself first, **, Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard, is once again under intense public scrutiny following a series of explosive allegations accusing her of abusing her authority and misusing taxpayer resources for personal gain. Critics argue that Henyard prioritized her image and comfort over the needs of the people she was elected to serve, and now her conduct is under the microscope of both local and federal investigators. She used village officers like personal chauffeurs. One resident said bluntly, "We needed those officers on the street, fighting crime, not driving the mayor around town." Henyard, who has been labeled by critics as the most controversial mayor in America, faces a growing mountain of claims that she silenced trustees, intimidated opposition, and pushed out anyone who dared to challenge her. In a town where trust in leadership has eroded sharply, many residents say they've had enough. #, who is Tiffany Henyard? Tiffany Henyard currently holds dual roles as mayor of Dalton, Illinois, and as Thornton Township supervisor, a pairing that's made her one of the most powerful and highest-paid public officials in the region. But with power came controversy. A central point of public outrage is Henyard's excessive use of taxpayer money. She reportedly maintains a full-time personal security detail, costing an estimated $250,000 per year, a figure many see as excessive for a small village like Dalton. This personal security team follows her around town and even out of state, but the expenses don't stop there. Henyard has allegedly used public funds to plaster billboards with her image, brand village-owned vehicles and buildings with her face, and even produce a custom 2024 calendar, which, predictably, includes her own birthday as a highlighted event. While Henyard earns about $225,000 annually, she proposed that if anyone else were to win the mayoral election, the salary would plummet by 90%, down to just $25,000. Residents say the move is a clear attempt to discourage competition and maintain her grip on power. Yet, in spite of the financial disincentive, community members are still stepping forward, determined to remove her from office, no matter the cost. #, the human toll of corruption beyond the financial mismanagement. Henyard's time in office has reportedly had a deep personal impact on members of the community. Survivors of her alleged misconduct have begun speaking out, sharing stories of fear, depression, and financial hardship. One woman, her voice trembling but steady, spoke of her long journey toward justice. "I waited 20 years, 30 years. I always told myself, if this ever happens to me, I'll fight. And now I am. This might feel sudden to you, but for me, it's been a long road." She continued, "I'm not just fighting for myself anymore. I'm fighting for every woman who's been in my shoes, for the sister who's scared, for the one who doesn't have a sister. I'm ready." #, power without accountability inside village offices. Several aides have described a chaotic and dismissive work environment. Henyard was said to frequently brush off concerns, even during planning for official trips. One assistant recalled a trip to Las Vegas, initially framed as a business conference, which conveniently coincided with the assistant's birthday. "I work hard," the assistant recalled. "Just Being there meant something to me. But the trip quickly became emblematic of deeper issues. Taxpayer-funded travel with questionable purpose, poor transparency, and blurred lines between official duties and personal indulgence. Critics say Henyard's behavior became increasingly combative. In one particularly revealing moment caught on camera, she snapped at her board. "Y'all forget I'm the leader. They want to hear from a mayor, not the trustees that don't do nothing, that only run to many." This confirmed what they already feared. Henyard had stopped leading and had started ruling. Hashtag lavish spending while residents struggle. Former Chicago Mayor and U.S. Attorney Lori Lightfoot, now conducting an external investigation into Henyard's administration, has released preliminary findings alleging a pattern of reckless spending and misuse of village funds. According to sources, Henyard used public money for upscale restaurants like Ruth's Chris, Cafe Hollywood, and hot and juicy crawfish lavish hotel stays non-essential purchases like air fryers, souvenir hats, and other personal items. One longtime Dalton resident, identified only as Manning, said, "All this money on steak dinners in Vegas hotels on Bubba Gump shrimp, no less." And she had the nerve to wear a souvenir hat to a town council meeting where we were, questioning her expenses. Even when confronted by the press, Henyard's responses were evasive and baffling. "Did you go to Las Vegas?" a reporter asked. "No car," Henyard mumbled. "You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?" "Of course I do." "Were you?" "It's not paid by them." "Did you fly first class?" "Any other questions?" Hashtag, a music video, a meme, and a meltdown among the most surreal developments. Henyard reportedly used taxpayer money to film a music video, not an original track. Just her singing over a popular beat, with a full crew, custom visuals, and a personal spotlight. Residents say it emblematic of an administration that prioritizes image over impact. "This isn't just a political scandal," one local said. "It's a comedy show. If someone made a documentary about this, it would be wild. I mean, look at her, strutting next to cops like she's untouchable." Another viewer summed it up, "She's not just corrupt, she's iconic in the worst way." Hashtag legacy of controversy as investigations continue and federal pressure mounts. Residents of Dalton say Henyard's time in office has left more than just financial damage. It's left behind a deep sense of betrayal. While her supporters argue she's being unfairly targeted, the overwhelming public sentiment points to a leadership defined by ego, extravagance, and evasion. "She does whatever she wants," said one resident. "And when she's questioned, she just shrugs it off like it's no big deal." Henyard's legacy in Dalton will likely be remembered not for achievement, but for mismanagement, controversy, and a community desperate to rebuild trust in its leadership.